to the tutorial for assignment 3, and this is part 3. We're talking about adding text and shapes and what to do with those shapes on your page. Let's look at some applications now for the skills that were taught in part 1 and part 2. I have a couple of pages here to show you that really can be created with just the tools that you have so far. So let's look at this first page. This one was created, and you can see almost everything is locked down. So if I go ahead and unlock this, you'll see that this was created by creating a box and then typing some text. Okay, I'll unlock that text and some text, and I just overlapped one on top of the other. Now again, you have to be careful that the order is how you want it. Right now, this text is sitting in the front of the box, and there's no fill anyway, so either way you'll probably be able to see it, but I went ahead and locked these down so they don't move. Okay, I don't want students to accidentally touch those and move them around the page, so I have all of this locked down. Okay, all my text. Actually, this one is not, so I can go ahead and lock that in place as well so students can't play around with those. So I've given the students a mathematical equation, and the expression on the left is equal to the expression on the right. So we're teaching the distributive property here. I've created two tiny little shapes here using the shape tool, and I've cloned each of them using the infinite cloner. So that's the shape as it was created. Okay, and then I use the infinite cloner. So what I'm asking them to do, they would come up to the smartboard and they would be able to drag these shapes. Okay, and I'm asking them to create a visual of this part of the expression. So they could do it really however it makes sense to them, but what I was thinking they would do is show that 2 plus 3 would give them 5. Okay, that would give them 5 shapes. And so that's this part of the expression. And we want to do that 5 times. So the students would be able to continually recreate this part of the expression by clicking and dragging. Okay. Okay, and that's an example of how to use just really some basic shapes and some properties. You know, we added some color and infinitely clone them. Okay, so we would show that. We would continue doing this 5 times, and then we would show on the other side that 5 times 2. So I would drag 2 of these, but I would do it 5 times. Okay, that's 2 times, and so on. And then on this side, I would do 5 times 3. Okay, so I would drag 3 of these and do that 5 times. And the objective here is to show that the shapes on the left equal the shapes on the right. Okay, so that's an example. Let's go to this one. This one is a matching activity. Just move my recorder out of the way for a moment. This was created by just making a few yellow rectangles. Let me unlock one so you can see. Okay, and in the center, these are also grouped together. So I'm going to ungroup them so you can see that this is simply a 4 and a 3 underneath it, and I've underlined the 4, okay, to create a fraction. And then once that's placed on top of this rectangle that just has some properties, I've filled it with yellow and I've given it a black line style. And now I'm putting this right on top of that. And if I click and drag, I can group these together and I can lock it in place. Okay. Now down below here, I've made several green rectangles. I've done the same thing. I've grouped them together. Now they're not locked because I want to be able to pick them up kind of like cards, a deck of cards. And I'm asking the students to drag the mixed number over the improper fraction that it matches up with. So this would be 26 thirds. So would just simply lay this one right on top. Okay, and then I would look for the answer for this one. Now this is important. Ordering is important here because if I had this in the wrong order where I sent it to the back, you can see that it would go behind that original fraction. And I want my green shapes to be in the front, so I'm covering them. Okay, so that's another simple activity. This one is an example of draggable multiplication. So I've created a multiplication problem, again, by just using my text tool, and I've locked this all down. I put a line here and lock that down. Now each one of these boxes, if I unlock this and ungroup this, you can see that each one of these was a box. Okay, I've created one box here, and then I copied the box, right click, and I can paste a number of these, and then I just went ahead and lined them up where I wanted them, so I could create this activity for the students. Now I don't want any of this to move. Okay, so I'm going to just highlight all of this. You can see all of the boxes are highlighted, and I can lock all of them at once by selecting any one of these and locking them in place. Okay, now each one is locked. What I've done here is just created, let me unclone this, I simply made a text box, okay, put a number in it, okay, select it, and then I've infinitely cloned it. So now I have an infinite amount of number ones that I would like. Okay, so let me just get rid of these, delete those. So that's how these were created. And now as I'm solving this problem, I have smaller ones on the side for my carry digits. So 7 times 3 would be 21. So I'm going to move the 1 into the box here. And I'm going to carry the 2. Okay, and using these draggable numbers, I can solve this problem. Now again, if I wanted to clear this page, the only thing that's going to leave is the student's work. So I can have more than one student working on this page. And the last one, this was created using simple lines. Okay, these are not locked down. Would be a good idea for me to highlight all of this and lock all of these down. Okay, so none of this moves. This was created by making a box and typing in some numbers in here. Now these are not locked down and not grouped and not cloned because there's one answer for each one of these. So the value of the 8 is 8,000. So the students would come to the smartboard and just drag in the answer beside the question that it belongs with. So those are some applications on grouping, cloning, layering, and locking text and shapes.